I'm Kemonte Lindsay. I'm from Sacramento, California.
I'm Ken. Great to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. What is like the path that you took to get to where you are today?
That's a cold journey. Started on the streets, embedded in the street life, former gang member, landed in prison several times. My last experience was almost 24 years in prison, close to 10 years in solitary confinement. So my story is a cliche. A young black male, come from a broken home, was always a bright kid in class and in school, but by the time I was in junior high school, the streets were calling. I was bored with book work. It wasn't a challenge to me, and the way my mind worked, I needed to be involved in a whole lot of different things. I was curious about a whole lot of different things, so I got into a whole lot of different things. And so that caused me to reach into places I probably shouldn't have been reaching at 13, 14 years old. That led to me hanging out in the streets, meeting my homies, and representing the neighborhood kind of thing, right? That's kind of what landed me. I started out in California Youth Authority when they had the California Youth Authority at 14 and a half years old. Got sent there for a string of armed robberies that me and my homies did. And that started my whole stay in the state as a young teenager, a young man. So, at this point in my life, I'm 57 now. I've spent more time incarcerated than I have out. And those are very hard lessons. It took me all of those lessons to land where I'm at today, to learn the things I needed to learn to get to where I'm at today. And in 2019, I was successful suing the state for them locking me in solitary confinement for that long, and I was released to the Bay Area in California. Got a job at a public interest law firm as a paralegal my first few weeks out, and within a couple months, my boss called me in the office and asked me do I want to be a state policy director. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant, but he said, listen, all you have to do is do what you've been doing and go up to Sacramento and start talking to legislators about criminal justice reform. So that's what I did. I became an advocate. One thing led to another, and I was offered an executive director job at a reentry organization, startup reentry organization. And I had this idea to build out a new model for reentry of what it looked like for men and women to get out of prison. That it was based on building a college campus type environment for people and supporting them with learning experiences so they could pathway into livable wage careers and jobs. And to be honest with you, it was premised really after my own vision of what I wanted for myself. And I knew that me getting out as a middle-aged man, not having any housing, not having any relevant skills to go take to an employer, that what I would have liked to have most is a time to reset my life, where I didn't have to worry about rent, I didn't have to worry about money, I didn't have to worry about any of those types of things. I could concentrate on educating myself so I could get a livable wage job. And so I wrote a business plan in West Oakland that was based on that, and took that business plan to the California legislature and asked them for a whole lot of money. And in 2021, they gave me $27 million to build it. And so that was kind of my early journey. After that happened, Checker, which is an HR tech company in San Francisco, California, recruited me to come build out an ecosystem for them. Made me a vice president, which is historical for somebody who just did life in prison, to be out 2.5 years. That's what I was doing for the last 3 years. And then I just recently took a job at the Just Trust Initiative, which was started by Mark Zuckerberg, who started Facebook, and Priscilla Chan, his wife, who wanted to really heavily invest in criminal justice reform. So they seeded it with $350 million, and now I'm the chief innovation officer over there.
How did you build your team? When you came home, how did you build the team in order to get the grant from the government or the loan, however that worked out?
When I was at CROP, which was the name of the organization that I led, I had a friend that was in prison. All the guys on the team were from prison. And we just believed in ourselves, and we believed in a vision. And so, it's important to surround yourself with people who care about you and your welfare, right? It's important to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, because that's the only way you're gonna learn. It's important to surround yourself with people who are like-minded. The way I grew up, I still got a lot of homies out there in prison and out of prison, but we're not like-minded anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I've elevated to something else, and they've elevated or stayed the same in what they're doing. Doesn't mean I love them any less. But I'm not willing to do the same things I was willing to do when I was 20 or 25 or 30 for that, because life has become bigger for me than what that is. And so I don't surround myself with my homies on a daily basis, because I know that if I do that, chances are we're gonna be going back doing the same stuff that we used to do 30 years ago, right? And that's not where my life trajectory is at. So I make sure I surround myself with people that are like-minded, meaning people who are business-oriented, people who are interested in serving other people and helping the community. Those are the people I surround myself with. I think your team or your friends or the group of people you surround yourself is probably the single most important thing that any person could do if they want to be successful, is surround themselves with people that are interested in lifting them up and making sure that they succeed.
What would make me a good mentee to you, for you to bring out the best in you as a mentor?
The biggest thing that I appreciate is respecting and understanding my journey, and to be able to see yourself in that journey. Because at the end of the day, whether we choose to accept it or not, I'm a reflection of you and you're a reflection of me. And so through my life journey, vicariously, you can see yourself and what your possibilities are and what your possibilities shouldn't be. To take those life lessons that somebody else lived and be able to apply those to your own life. For me, when I see other, specifically, especially black men, right, and understanding our struggle here in this country and understand the struggle that we go through on a daily basis, for me to be able to give back to you is really just be able to offer my life experience to you. And hopefully you have the foresight to put those puzzle pieces together and say, like, Ken did 24 years in prison. If he could be a VP 2 years out of prison, what does that mean for me? I know I can do that, right? Yeah. And even more.
Because me and you share similar stories, know how important it is to advocate for others that basically don't have a voice. So what would be some of your advice to get me to that next stage?
If you can, delay short-term gratification, play chess, not checkers, and play long ball. Long ball is having planning, having goals, going through the process and understanding and respecting the process, right? We live in a society where now we want everything right now. Fast food society, microwave society, and it doesn't happen that way. There's hundreds of thousands of people that look just like me and you that came from the same neighborhood you came from the same neighborhoods I came from, and they all thought they could get that quick fix, whether it's through selling dope, whether it's through jack and rock, you know, you name it. They done it because they want it now. There's a heavy cost to all of that. It's a heavy cost to your family. It's a heavy cost to you as an individual. It's a heavy cost to everybody that you care about. And it's a heavy cost to society. And so the payoff, while it looks good right away, is never there. There's never been a gangster in the history of the world that had the right payoff. You can go from Al Capone, Noriega, you name them, and they all had miserable ends. So what I would say is understanding and respecting early universal law. When you go against the grain, it's a no-win at the end of that. You may get some short-term stuff, but at the end of the day, it's no win. And so understanding that no matter what you do, you have to go through a process of learning, right? Whether you're in the streets or whether you're at Harvard, you have to pay those costs to get you to the destination. So having the vision to understand where you want to be and then knowing how to backwards map that, traveling as a young black man through today's society, understanding that there's a whole bunch of snares and traps out there for people that look like me and you in all different types of areas, and that you will be caught up in those snares and traps if you're not smarter than the snares and traps. And when I say smarter, it doesn't mean book smart. It means understanding the landscape, understanding your position in the world, understanding the world's position when it comes to you, and then learning how to navigate that to get the things you want out of life. Because you can have whatever you want and you can achieve whatever you want, but you got to be smart about how you navigate it. Pay attention to all the things that are calling us and know what to put down and know what to pick up. A lot of people get distracted by all the lights and the shiny objects and stuff, and they don't pay attention. Relationships, friends, homies, all the different things that come to you, your job is to pay attention to what it's bringing to you and what it's bringing to your life goal and your life circumstance, right? Some are going to be for you. Most of them are not going to be for you. Your job is to decide and decipher the difference between the two.